Okay, you guys are all being recorded.
Okay, welcome everybody to Gateway Promotion OnBase Training. So
Make sure they're able to hear you though.
I'll keep the chat up. If you can't hear me, put something in the chat and let us know. I can talk louder. The mic is running through Eileen's stuff right now. So this is what I want to do today. I want to talk about the promotion process in OnBase Training, the login and navigation sort of thing, uploading a document, and then just some final thoughts. So here's the promotion process. No, I always talk loud like this. This is my classroom, man. Okay, so you're invited to go up for promotion 3 years after your last change in rank. And for full professor, you have to be 6 years minimum in rank. And you can elect not to go up. You can withdraw from the process, go up the next year or the year after that. That's what I did. The promotion is based on the evidence of teaching, service, profession, everything that's on your PPE is kind of what is going to go in this portfolio that you're going to create. And that's why you need to keep documentation. For associate and assistant last 3 years, you need just those documents. For full professor, you need to keep 6 years worth of documents. You get all that together. It used to be a paper binder. It used to be other things. A committee reviews it, gives you feedback, and you make changes. And then the committee makes recommendations to the president and sends it to him. And then the president will sign off on it, and it will go to the system office. So that's in a nutshell, what is happening here. Is it worth it? This is way beyond the scope of this presentation today. It's not as time consuming as people think, and that's what I'd like to show you today. You do get some more money, but I'm gonna leave that up to HR to tell you all the details. Or people who have recently gotten promoted, I'm looking at you, Krista, can tell us how much fabulously richer you are if you wish to, but you don't have to. Anyway, so as you'll see in a minute when I show the folder kind of architecture for the portfolio in OnBase, there are 13 sections, but of those, there are 4 of them that you don't have to edit, so that brings you down to 9 sections. You've got a section for your letters of recommendation, which are submitted outside of, you will not have to touch that, and so that brings you down to 8. There are 2 really simple sections. The Vita and your philosophy are just like single documents that you upload, and then those are done. 4 of them, you have dean's letters and kind of your documentation from the PPEs. And so that brings you down to that. And so there's only really 2 that have involved documentation and narratives. You do have some narratives in those 4 dean letters, things for internal service, external service, professional development, and leadership. But anyway, so that's what we're really looking at. So it's not quite as scary as it looks when you first open up the information. So we're looking at 4 short narratives, and then longer narratives for 2 sections with some documentation. So the most intimidating sections of the portfolio are the 2 that are the most involved, and that's instruction and advising. But the documentation is easy to file, like as you go. Like your syllabi will never need to be updated from, you need to have one for each semester within that 3 or 6 year period. Convert one to a PDF, stick it in there, and you're done with this. Instruction, as you get, some kind of lesson that you really like, I used screenshots because I do a lot of things through Blackboard, collaborate within the classroom and through Blackboard. And so I just took screenshots of lessons and things like that and put it into a Word document, made it a PDF, and it was fine. If you do like formal lesson plans, or if you want to use the screenshots kind of thing, consider uploading them to the QEP repository if they have something to do with our 10 essential skills. So the ones that are really, I think, easiest to complete ahead of time are the Vita and the philosophy and the narratives for those PPE sections. And I'm told by someone, I will not say who, that AI makes some of the narratives easier. If you tell the AI, ChatGPT or whichever you want to use, what you want it to say, then it will give you something back that has that stuff in it. And at least that gives you a draft. So don't feel like you have to be Shakespeare or spend a lot of time sweating over this, because I'm not entirely sure if anyone reads them. I'm just saying. So OnBase is the new way of doing it. It's like think of it like a filing cabinet. That's what the system office wants you to think. The OnBase content portfolio is available when you get hired. So those of you who are new, you can start using this. You could have started using this 6 or 8 months ago. You're going to store your documentation in your promotion folders as you go along, at least for some things that aren't going to change, like your advising list or your syllabi. And then during your promotion year, you use it to organize your material, decide what you want to put into the submission portfolio from the content binder. So the content binder is kind of like your big folder of stuff that you're collecting. And then the submission binder is what you put it into a particular order for. And then the submission portfolio goes through the review process. So some people have told me that at least this year, which was the first year that we've used OnBase, the idea of using it as a file cabinet is a little bit misguided. It's really hard to work with. But I think that if people get into the habit of putting things into it, it'll get easier. And some things you can put in there and you're done. You don't have to go looking for like all your advising lists for the past 6 years. When you decide to tackle that section. And so I think it makes it a little less scary. It's also not as easy to lose things, I think, once you go in there. And you are able to, upload a new version of a document if something changes. If you decide you want to, change your philosophy or something, it's not hard to do. I'm not going to get into that today because that's also kind of beyond where we need right now. And you have to convert things to PDFs. Now it will let you put stuff in there in Word, but it really don't do it. It kind of becomes a pain to work with. How many of you have heard about the physical paper binders that were like 6 to 8 inches wide? Eileen's raising her hand.
Both of them.
That was my first one. My second one was Katie's raising her hand too. My second one was one where we did everything electronically, and I had pretty much what we're talking about here at OnBase. I had file folders for all my documentation for advising and, instruction, all of that kind of stuff. And then I chose what I wanted to put into my final binder. I put them all into folders, and then I made a big PDF with every single freaking thing in the order. The order is reverse chronological. I don't know why. But anyway, it's better than both of these things to do this in OnBase. So there are 2 versions of OnBase. There's a web version that you can use at home if you do not have your Gateway laptop with you. There's a desktop version that's available on Gateway issued laptops. I've got some screenshots of both of these in here. But the main thing that I want to get to is allow you to create either, a syllabus as a PDF, or if you've got your teaching philosophy that you got hired with and you want to make that a PDF, and show you how to get that into OnBase. So that's where we're going with all this. So,
and all of our laptops, everybody already has Adobe, correct?
Everybody has Adobe. Everybody may not have OnBase loaded onto your laptop. I've got the screenshot here in a second. This is, if you want to get to the web version, you go in My Path and scroll down to the blue stuff here and just look for OnBase and click into it. They look a little bit different. The web version is not nearly as user-friendly. So on OnBase desktop, the app is called Unity Client. So if you're searching apps and you type in OnBase, nothing will happen. I found this out earlier today. If you don't have it loaded on your Gateway laptop, then please put in a ticket. It's easy for them to do. And so this is basically, the icon will be on your desktop probably if it's on there. And then you can also just find it in the apps list. You can look for Unity Client in order to get it to be
don't think it's on I don't think it looks like it's on my desktop when I
Yeah,
see it.
So you'll need to ask then.
No, I have it on here.
You do?
Because when I went for promotion, we had to have it
Oh, 'cause you had
to
put
log
the
in,
one-time
say we weren't
thing.
doing it, and log out.
Okay. So when you sign in, either way, it's the email and password that gets you into everything else. You do have to use two-factor authentication. Sorry about that. On the desktop, the home screen kind of looks like this. And then if you launch into it, you should get to something that looks like this. Unless you've had it open, then it might put you wherever you left off, which kind of bugs me. But if you click on the filing cabinet that's up there on the top, which is really hard to see here, I'm going to make this a little bigger at least. Oh, that didn't help. Anyway.
Control plus in that screen. Control plus.
There we go. Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Okay, this is a lot better. So now I can see stuff too. So click the file cabinet and then you'll get something that looks more like this. So you've got your files. You see that you've got an FP content portfolio, a submission portfolio, and a submitted portfolio.
You can do control plus again.
Yeah, I'll control plus again. I'm going to have to do this for everything kind of manually. Sorry. So anyway, when you click on the filing cabinet, you'll see this folder tree. If you click on the FP content portfolio, I'll make this big. It'll eventually show you the content portfolio with your name. And then you can click into that. For both of them, just be patient. They will eventually load, but it takes for freaking ever. And then when you're in here, you can see there's kind of a document viewer screen on the right, and then on the left is your folder tree with all of the stuff that you have to do. And again, we're looking at 2 things that are hard and 4 things that are a little more involved, and everything else in here is really not that bad. You can be done with it and cross it off your list early. Yes?
So I have a question. As far as transcripts, so that if we've already gone from promotion once, we've already gotten the transcripts. Is that going to be given to us again in what Nicole
It's cooler
gives
even
to us?
than that, because my transcripts are in there now. And then
You don't
anyone
have
who's
to
been
ask for them
hired,
to do all that?
HR puts that one in the PPEs.
Oh, beautiful.
So those
Look
are
at that.
already preloaded. Those are some of the ones I said you don't have to worry about.
Oh, good. So sorry. I missed that.
So, but look at it and see if you're missing transcripts, like maybe you took, an extra few hours of something and it's not in there, then just ask HR to load it in. It's not hard for them to do.
So do you think that external and internal service, do you think that that's worth, like, when we're finished at the end of the year and we have our PPE, do you think it's worth taking a couple hours or an hour and just going in and putting your internal service and your external service, your professional development in for that year?
So
potentially that could take care of it, right?
yeah, and then you could do it at the end of the year with your dean. Just take them in and say, these are the things I'm eventually going to have as my sign-off thing. There's no reason why he has to sign off on all the years.
Is that not just listing them?
So the way this works is you have the way that we do it is we don't have all of the documentation for every email of anything you ever did.
Right.
We have the stuff from the PPE.
Right.
And that's listed in reverse chronological order, and the dean signs it, and then that's your proof. You can have other things in there if you want, but that might be the only.
But like
thing
as our internal service is coming along, like for instance this year, I could go back in and type in on my internal service.
Sure.
And then next year at the end of the year, I could just type in my internal service.
Yes, but you're gonna do them in a Word document,
right?
And then convert it to a PDF and load it in here.
Oh, so I'd be better off keeping it in a Word document.
You might, yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's not a bad idea to clear some of that away, because then it's here where you can find it.
Right. Okay.
But if you make a mistake or something, it's not hard to
undo the PDF.
Undo it. Or this is basically kind of like a repository where it keeps versions. So you can't really blow stuff away. Even if you delete stuff, it still lives somewhere, as many people have told me.
Got it.
Anyway, so this is what it looks like in there, and under instruction. I've clicked in here, and then you can kind of see a list of documents. I don't have a ton in here right now, but if you click on a document, then you can see it in the document viewer, and there are different things that you can do with it. So that's what I would encourage you to put something in here later. For your advising loads, if you do it as you go along every semester and you load it in here, then you never have to know this, which is that you need to look it up in PeopleSoft. Click create a favorites for advisees in the advisees tab, and it'll bring up this screen for you. and then you just put in the term that you need. That one is 4214, which means in 2021, the fall, it's going to pull that advising list that I had at that time. And you have to put your name in the bottom one. This is another one where you have to just, go get a snack and come back because it takes a while for it to do. So if you do it, and do a screenshot, put it into a Word document, and then make that a PDF, you've got it. All right, so the way this works, the web version, you have to click on some import things and do it kind of manually, but for the desktop one, all you need to do is drag and drop, which is what I'm going to show you here in a minute, hopefully. From the web version, you kind of go up here and find where it says import document, and once you do that, then it will bring up this screen with all of the things that you're going to put into it, your date, the document type, and all of that. If you drag and drop, this will also come up.
Hold on, move your cursor again. Nothing's showing up on my screen.
It's there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's changing with yours, so.
Okay. So whether you import or whether you drag and drop, the first thing it's going to ask you here in this kind of dialog box is, do you want to put it in the listing narrative portion or in the materials? There's two folders. We didn't know there were two folders this year, so people who did that just kind of put it in materials. And then, but really what the idea is that you kind of sock all your materials into one and then put your listing and narrative with everything that kind of like a table of contents and discussion in the other, and then it's easy to find that, or easier to find that. So we're at the hands-on portion now. Find yourself something that you would like to put in here. Maybe it's a syllabus or a class that's currently running. Just make it a PDF. Log into OnBase and import the PDF into the instruction documentation folder. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get out of this now and see if I can share my screen with you. OnBase. Okay. So I'm going to do it from OnBase itself. Oh, okay. Share application screen. Here we go. So can y'all see that?
Just about. Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. So when you first log into OnBase, it looks like this. You can make it big if you want to, which I'm going to do. You're going to click on the filing cabinets. And because I was recently in here looking at something else, it went to the last thing I was looking at. If it doesn't do that, it might just have, the content portfolio and the three folders there, and then you have to open all of this up. I'm going to put something into advising because I have an advising thing that's a PDF. But the way that it works is you go to your file manager. Here, I'll go to advisees. And I'm pretty sure you cannot see that.
No, you cannot see that.
All you can see is the thing here. Let me see if I can share my whole screen, if it'll behave.
I don't think you ever can. Can you?
Maybe not the way this is. We can try that. Here, I'm going to share my screen and see what happens. Share application screen, entire screen, share, and then here. Yep. You can see that. Okay, so I'm going to grab my advisees stuff that I keep. And I would suggest if you've got someone who's in the business, for instance, go find, or any pathway, go to the pathway stuff that's at NKU and download a copy of that for the pathway that they're in and put their name on it. And then I would combine this with their Associate of Arts Smart Plan, which I can show you what one looks like here. I just did one for Jeremiah. I pull this into an iPad and I write it out. You can get this blank document from the website. Just kind of right click on it and save it as a PDF, and then you can fill it out and upload it. And so that's what I've got here right now. So if I want to bring his stuff over, I'm going to go to, where's advising? This is too small, I can't see. Student guidance and advising, sorry. So it's not under A. I can just grab over here and go and do that, and boom, and it will load in. From here, what I was just showing you on the screenshot, this stuff on the left, you need to tell it kind of what kind of document it is. You're just kind of doing these little tiny drop downs. I've got one here for materials because that's what this is. It's PDF, document date. If this is a document date that is from something 2 years ago, you might want to change the document date so it's easy to sort by date. The academic year you do need to put in here, and this was this year, so I'm going to go to 2023, 24, and then description, you can say.
So was that from today, or is it from November?
It was from November, but it's.
Would that just make your document stuff easier, or no?
It might, or it might. I mean, you don't need more than 2 or 3 of these, so
okay.
you could re-index them later and change that stuff. But when you get everything put together that needs to be in here, FP advising type, I have no idea what that means, but I have no idea. So hopefully someone will tell me that at some point and I can add it in. Once you have something in the document viewer, you can always change the fields here on the left later.
Would advising type be something like AA, I think? Like AA, AS, AAS?
Don't know. Could be all kinds of things. Anyway, so I'm going to import it. So you go down to the bottom and click import. Oh, wow, this may be one I already put in. So if you have that, then it'll give you a chance to maybe put something else in its place, or you can save it as a new document. I've got another one of these that is like this. So now if I go into student guidance and advising, I've got this one for it was Jeremiah's. This one is someone else's. I actually did this one where I put this together with what I was talking about. Put these as a single document with the pathway guide, so it's kind of there. This is another one.
This is what I put in my advising notes.
Yeah, that's what. Thank you for reminding me about that. The advising notes, you could kind of go in there and just grab some of the PDFs, download them, stick them together, and put them in there pretty easily. This is my advisees list from 2021. I went in and did kind of that manual thing that I was showing you a second ago and pulled this in here. So you could pull that in.
How'd they all fail? Status E?
They might. No, E is for enrolled.
Oh, good.
Or at least they were enrolled at the time.
Every single one of your advisees failing. Geez, Sharon, I'm sure you do a better job.
I'm a failure as an advisor.
Sorry.
All right, so.
That seems so unlikely.
So what questions do y'all have for me? What do you want me to show you again, or are you just trying to kind of muddle through on your own? Do that for a second. Adam, how are you doing?
Good. How are you all?
Yay! Oh, I can hear you. That's awesome. So, do you have your Gateway laptop? Are you able to load something in, or are you just kind of watching for now?
Yeah, I'm watching for now, but I do have my Gateway laptop. Did you want me to load some of my portfolio?
You don't have to if you don't want to.
No.
I should say too that Eileen and I are the only ones who are physically here in this room right now, but I did make some copies of stuff, and I'm not sure how you do it, but I know that because I shared my files here, I've got this OnBase promotion thing. You're able to download that, but I can also make sure that it gets sent out to everyone who was on this today. The very last, let me do it again. The very last thing that I have in here is some links. So I have the 3 things that I printed are the first 3 here. There's one that's sort of this is what it looks like when you're trying to log in. Here's one thing about, how to do different things, the quick guide, and then the requirements for promotion binders just tells you what kinds of documentation you need. There's a faculty promotion manual that is a little bit more extended. If you need to figure out how to do something, you could look at that, but you could also ask me to look at it and I could help you with it. And then I've got at the bottom a link to the folder on the Chancellor's Office of the promotion kind of area that are training videos that walk you through everything that I'm doing here, but maybe it's a little clearer when you want to do that. It does have one that's strictly the website version and then one that is the other. But anyway, so that's there, and if you need to get any of that stuff, then you can, or I can make sure it gets to you. How about
I'll
the rest
say there was only 2 comments that I really had.
Okay.
The first was I had a hard time getting all of my advisees in the format that it should have been in. And then Natasha took a look at it and she pushed me in the direction of a video that you made, Sharon, on going into our PeopleSoft and being able to search for our advisees semester by semester or year by year. And once I watched that, I was able to get that in there like within 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
that was
for the thing to grind through, right?
Yeah, 5 of that was like watching the video of you doing it, and then and then I put in the same thing for me, and then pulling it up. Yeah, it did take a little bit of time, but the only other thing was early on in the training process, I wish that we had just chosen a particular section, like maybe our curriculum vitae, and doing it like all together, like go into a meeting, pull up your CV, put this needs to go here. This is an example of a finished one, and then let's all do it here. And really, one of the smaller ones like that should take like 20 minutes, depending on how big your CV is. And then from there, I think all of the other things would have been very, very intuitive.
Yeah, once you do it a few times, it's all the same.
Yeah,
I've
and
got
then
some slides here for this because I did run office hours over institutional close. I told people, and it was true, that I actually started my associate promotion portfolio over Christmas break, and I made it, and that was doing all of the putting PDFs in manually. So it's possible, but I agree with you. If people are interested in doing, workshops where we do the different sections together and kind of look at each other and talk about it, or just sit and write them if we need to, so that you don't feel like you're all alone putting it off because it's writing, and writing is always scary. We can certainly do that next term.
What do you guys think if we could fit in a half hour or even a 15-minute little snippet of time during a faculty day? Because all the faculty have the potential of going for promotion, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a time to grab everybody and at least introduce this and show how easy it is. Because I guess I'm looking at this thinking, I just told Sharon, I'm not sure if I want to go for professor because it's 6 years worth of stuff that you have to get together. But if I can do a little bit every year and keep up with it, it's not going to be as overwhelming.
Yeah, I think that I was told my first semester here, oh, you have to keep all of this stuff. But you've seen my office, some of you, many of you, and you know that I have trouble. I never really figured out where to put stuff.
Right.
I do have some email, like an email thing that just has promotion in it, and I tried to make it be the folders, and that went by the wayside quickly. This is a little bit more formal, and I think it holds it in the kind of the order that you need it, and makes it easy to see. Krista, did you have some things that you wanted to add about your experience?
Yeah, I would agree with Adam that I think it's helpful to, have some sessions, with the group that's going through the process to say, okay, first we're going to focus on this one and have a couple of those warm-up ones like the Vita that's, fairly straightforward to put in there. I think where I got the most hung up was trying to figure out, you know, that instruction section or any of the sections really, how do you want it to look? And trying to get it into that format, and then trying to figure out OnBase at the end. I feel like now that I've been through it once and I know what everybody's looking for, I feel like I could do it the next time without too much trouble. But it was pretty confusing, I think, initially trying to figure out what formats everything was supposed to be in, what information was necessary, what was unnecessary, etc.
Yeah, there's a list, the promotion thing here. Let's see it. The requirements for promotion binders, you'll get a copy of this. You know, it's one of the things that I printed today. It tells you what goes in each section and that kind of thing. But it doesn't really give you anything like, you know, what should it look like, to Krista's point. And that's because there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I've seen lots of different things.
One thing Natasha did was she sent us all a copy of her files and what they looked like, and I kind of went according to that. That was really helpful.
That's what Carrie did.
But also some of the shells that she gave us to fill out, I think might needed some updating, because like I think it was in the instruction section or something else. It was asking for sample assignments in a few different files, and I remember asking the question like, do we really need to do sample assignments here as well? And she's like, oh no, only in this one. I'm like, oh, this. So like I said, now that I've been through it once, I think I know what to do.
It looks like you do need assessments or assignments under instruction, but where else was it besides that?
I can't remember what the other shell was that she gave us that had that in it, but I remember it was in two different places, and I had asked her about it, and she's like, oh yeah, no, you don't need to put it there, only in this one. And so then it just made me start to question, you know, where else do I not need to have things and stuff? So I could probably go back and do a little bit more research and give more detail, but having a shell to just populate was super helpful. Having an example of how someone else had done it successfully was super helpful.
Yeah. So any kind of template files.
Yeah, and I did see Carrie McKinnon's completed binder in, you know, when I went searching. I think there's a group folder that we had access to in Teams, and it mirrored pretty well Natasha's, and so that, like, I just started, you know, collecting everything that looked even remotely similar to what either of them had put in, and really just built a mountain of files first, and then I just started adding it to the individual sections, going off of their models. So that was really helpful, but it felt overwhelming to the point where I didn't really start until the break, getting all of the information together. And I think if we did, like, if you don't even mention the word promotion binder, if you just say, hey, we're going to have a meeting, you guys are required to come and bring your CVs on your work laptops, and then just put it in and say, oh, now you did your promotion binder CV. See how easy that was?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little placating, but you know, you can do that with other sections as well. And honestly, like, you can have it broken up like once a month, and people can have the bulk of it done. Even just meeting once per month, doing one section each time, getting to the bigger and bigger and bigger sections.
Yeah, I would very much like to do it that way. And let me see if there's anything else here.
Are you going to be the promotion person next year?
I'm at least going to be the support person from TLS. I've asked to be on the committee because I can't actually see a lot of stuff not being on the committee. I can do stuff for my own, but I can't really help other people and all of that. So
when do you go up next, or do you?
I think it's like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
It's a while. No, it's 25, 26, I think they said. So anyway, I should get on this, I guess. What other questions or comments do y'all have?
Melanie, I want to say thank you to you for coming, since you're the only new faculty member here. I appreciate that you're here.
Yeah.
Well, Sasha, you're here too, so good job, guys. Sasha and Melanie.
Yeah. I think that
Thank you.
I think that I like the idea of doing workshops, and maybe we could put those into, faculty kinds of meetings. I know that Maysville has like a faculty assembly, and part of it is PD that we have to do that every month and share, 5 minutes full of different things that people do in the classroom, and that's something that we used to do, as far as like at least with Carrie and the Golly kinds of stuff, and we have gotten away from that, and I miss it because I always learned a lot. I love neat things. So.
One question I had.
Yep.
Now, those, I'm not sure if anybody didn't get approved for promotion, but do we get feedback based on our portfolio, so that we can make changes for when we go up for the next rank?
The only time you get the feedback is really when your mentors or when the committee are looking at it and having you do things. I'm sure that if you didn't get promoted, there would be some documentation in there to tell you why. I've never heard of anyone, at least from Gateway, not getting promoted. Unless, what would happen is if your stuff was just so inadequate because you started the day before it was due, then the committee would tell you that you just don't have enough here and you're running out of time. And then you just put it off next year. But I've never heard of anyone not getting it. And you will have, in the folder architecture, you've got one that's content, you've got one that's submission, and you've got one that's submitted. So the portfolio that you and Krista made will eventually be in that submitted thing. And you can even go back and look at some of that stuff and maybe even pull some of it out. Your Vita may not change that much, or your philosophy. You could just put it into the new one.
So if that's all saved there, does the committee see that, or the KCTCS overall? So they're going to see that you didn't bother to try to update your philosophy, or you didn't try to update anything?
I'm just going to read that closely.
I
They're
don't
only
know.
looking at it. That's what I had to keep telling some people is that we all were good students. We all want to get all A's and A double pluses because we're smart, and we love school, and so we are enculturated into that. But let yourself be imperfect, because you can make things better. But if you're already deciding that everything has to be just like it was when you were in college and you were turning in your term paper or something, this isn't that. And there's no reason to put, and what I really see, and what I'm speaking now for myself too, the things that were intimidating to me were because I was approaching it like that. And when I just relaxed and said, you know what, especially if you see my binder, there's no way anyone actually looked at all of that stuff. And the only time that the system,
I think my binder was 5-inch binder. It was
mine was
ridiculous.
pretty bad. And the only time that the system would look at it is if you were appealing the decision, because there is space in OnBase. I should say too that OnBase is a lot more than just this. There's a lot of other documents, and that's one reason that they wouldn't put it on the computers in the computer lab, which is why we ended up coming to this room, because I know that the sound stuff works. Yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway.
Because it holds other documents, got stuff with our employability stuff, right? Our hiring information and social security.
It's got like financial aid
Yeah.
stuff from students in there as well.
Oh, got it.
That's what I was told, was that it was that. And so that's why it only can be on your laptop. That's kind of a pain because I use my desktop, at home for almost all of my work. I don't bring my laptop back and forth, it's heavy. And so I'm going to have to use the web version unless I do it in my office. But oh well. Any other questions?
No, thank you so much.
Thank you for contributing. You and Krista both. I really appreciate you're telling me what would have helped. And I hope that if I'm part of the committee next year that you'll tell me how we could present it. Because I felt, and I wasn't even going up, but I felt kind of overwhelmed with the first few meetings because they were trying to tell you so much at once. And I think, to your point, Adam, having it kind of be a little bit at a time is probably a better way to keep from scaring people off.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help. I'm curious if those who are on the call, who this is new to, are you feeling overwhelmed or is this making sense?
This is making sense, and it helps ease my mind a little bit about the process next year.
Oh, so you'll be going up next year?
Yes.
And Melanie, you're new. Sasha and Tyler, when are y'all going up?
Sasha's new too.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, I was having problems with my mic earlier. I was told I'm supposed to be going up. I was supposed to be getting the invite this year. So
Okay, good.
obviously, because I have so much anxiety, I'm always overwhelmed, but this always helps. So I just wish that this was kind of more of like a part of the onboarding process, like FYEE or something like that. That way I can get that exposure to that. But other than that, this is really helpful.
So Tyler, you did FYE last year, correct?
Yes, I was part of the one where it was an entire year process, which I think they're looking into shortening it this year.
No, every year it's going to be a year. It's four sessions. It just depends on how, if you go the whole day or half days. But the reason we didn't do any onboarding last year is because we did not choose to use OnBase last year. So I went for promotion. Was it last? When I went for promotion, we had to log into OnBase to say we were not using OnBase, and then we had to log out of it. So this year's the first time Gateway has ever used OnBase.
Okay, that clarifies things.
I do think that we will try to do some trainings through TLS, but I think that for somebody coming in, it would be better for them to probably take PD, just do like a little short kind of training on it versus having it with all the information of FYEE.
Oh no, I was never thinking have all the information, just get like an introduction to it, that's all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we can definitely make a note of that because Sharon and I can be part of doing that with the TLS portion of the FYE that we're going to install this, like kind of institute this year. So thanks for that. Thanks for that input. So we'll try to do a little bit of OnBase.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to know, just even separate from OnBase, what is all the information that will be required for promotion and how does that process work? And then, and here's the tool that you're going to use to put it all in. Because I think narratives, and all these documents, I mean, I know I was getting confused with philosophy and narrative, I'm confused as to what all that means and what all is required. And I think understanding that is helpful first, and then tacking on the OnBase stuff is how it gets saved, I think might.
Well, to that point, we could do an OnBase, a real quick OnBase training and intro to promotion, and we could have everyone input their philosophy. We all have to have our philosophy when we get hired. And that doesn't typically change a lot. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think any individual section, used as a tool to inform of the other sections would be fantastic. I personally didn't actually find OnBase to be that terrible. It runs and looks like a mid-90s program.
Yes. That's perfect.
Yes, exactly.
But you have to do things, and then it'll say, are you sure you want to do it? Yes, I'm sure. Put it in. And then you have to say, transfer it to this section. Are you sure you want to do it? Yes. And then if you make edits, you have to delete it from every single section and then do the whole process again. So yeah, I mean, it takes longer than it could in the year 2024. But is it inherently terrible to work with? No, not really. But, you know, once you understand the limitations of it. So I felt more overwhelmed with the amount of things that I had to do rather than the technology of it.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. I would agree, Adam.
Yeah, so breaking it up and doing a little bit every month would probably be the way to do it.
Yeah.
And this, you know, the small stuff first, you know, and then you snowball, and then the bigger sections. Because when Natasha sent hers, she sent us her combined instruction, and it was like 100 pages, and I was like, holy shit, like this is gonna take forever. And I don't, you know, do I want to do this for $500 extra? And then eventually I was like, all right, come on. Mostly it was peer pressure that got me to do it. Cause like, I was like, well, I can't let Krista do it and me not.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
So yeah, I think just doing the baby steps first, people understand what a good one looks like, and maybe you can make a fake bad one and say like this is too little information, and then people can do theirs with a model in hand and start with the baby ones.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we could also make some sessions around, say, instruction where we kind of share what we're doing. So you can see different examples of things, but we could also, that would give us an opportunity to talk about the way that we teach.
Mm-hmm.
So we could kind of do two things at once there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
other questions or things, observations? Who loaded something in during the session?
Well, how do I load it?
Like to just, you mean to,
You just want me to put it in the chat?
no, I was just saying if anyone got into the OnBase today during this session and dragged and dropped something in.
Didn't Adam just go for promotion?
Yeah, you've already got
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm all done.
I'm like cracking up. Like, why are you asking her how to do this? Like,
You
didn't
and
you just
Krista are in
submit
good
it?
shape. I was just wondering if anybody else did. You don't have to out yourself if you don't want to. But if there's nothing else, y'all, then go have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks so much for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Great job,
Yeah, you
Sharon.
guys all have a good day.
Thank you, Sharon and Eileen.
Oh, it's all Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good day, guys.